My summer was surreal. I was trying to, earn some extra money. But it was a romantic summer.
Oh,
It was a summer of
oh,
healing.
oh,
It
good.
was a
Oh,
summer of
good.
healing. And I really had a chance to take back and just be like, I'm alive and I appreciate my life and the people around me and I love everyone. I'm thankful that I'm here, that I'm here.
Hmm.
I'm thankful that I'm here with you, ladies and gentlemen. With that being said, let's just get down to business. We are in the presence of a legend. This
Thanks.
I love this woman. Seriously, I've known this woman for years. She is a true muse. Now I say this to some people, but I there's no one like Goddess Starla Vamp. Please
Thank
show
you.
respect. Be and definitely just breathe in everything, all of her art. Seriously, this is a muse, a true artist to the core, who I am honored to call a friend. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your energy. Thank you for your magic, Goddess Starla. How you doing?
Wow, thank you, Nick. Thank you for that intro. it's, it's a bit of an ego boost.
Well, you
um,
should. Your
yeah, no,
goddess.
it's absolutely, there is such a gap, like as big as the Grand Canyon, of people who know who I am and people who have absolutely no clue who I am. Um, and I try to make a landscape of romance and fantasy. And
Yeah.
sometimes it becomes a dystopia, and it becomes a dystopia of my own making. So whatever metaphors you want to have for that, I'm drowning in my own waters. I'm tangled in my own spider web. All of those ironic things. But yeah, I mean, like, the trickle of work that I've left behind. Like, I have been leaving breadcrumbs for years and years on the internet, and
Oh yeah.
people are
Like
supposed to follow the trail to me here now.
I followed the trail.
Um
I've been following the trail. Ladies and gentlemen, let's just start off the show. My name is Nicholas Tanek. This is Your Kinky Friends. You're listening to Your Kinky Friends YKF podcast. Um, we are everything we talk about is consensual. We're adults. This is for adults. It's made by adults. It's for adults. Shouldn't be played to or sold to minors under any circumstances. We're consenting. We're consenting adults. Don't judge. It's not cool. You'll get further in life if you open your mind. Anyway, Goddess Starla, I want to ask the question: what's
sure.
inspiring you these days?
Um how do I say this? Just this doesn't sound inspiring, but just owning my own space, and just not heeding to
Yeah,
expectations. So I'm rewriting it, and I'm rewriting the narrative that I made, which feels like I'm walking backwards, but in reality I'm actually not. Um so there like there's a danger to trying to exist in fantasy, and I'm just trying to ground myself in the reality of everything, and been hard. It's been hard, and it's been sad, and it's been difficult, but that's reality. Like, I don't know. It's a less entertaining hard pill to swallow, I guess I should
mm,
say. And that's just something that comes with, like, living longer. And
yeah,
and it comes with, like, for as much as I understood the relationships in my life and society and economy and everything, it just gets deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole, and it becomes more challenging. Um, it becomes harder, but it also becomes more satisfying at the same time. I know that sounds really cryptic, but
no, I know, understand exactly what you mean because a good art is hard and ultimately satisfying
and
in
it's
many
not
cases.
the fun kind of stuff, not the fun suffering.
No, no, it's not
The
the fun suffering.
actual
That's a good point.
shitty
It's a very good
suffering.
point. It's a very good point. So,
Because
with all this suffering, how do you keep yourself inspired?
um I go to the movies, I take long
Yeah.
walks. I try to get just this sounds so so cliche, but meeting new people, but meeting the right
Yeah.
people too, you know? And
Yeah.
when you want to misbehave, you still don't want to fall in with the wrong crowd.
Yeah. I know exactly what you
Sound
mean.
like this
No,
is
in
such
the kink
mommy
community
advice.
especially.
I've been giving mommy advice all this week and I make myself cringe, but whatever. This is where
You
I'm
know,
at.
you open up, you say you're going to give mommy advice. You know that door, you know that Pandora's box that's going to open up. People are going to be like, "Oh, Starla's a mommy now."
No,
Starla's
but
a
it's
mommy
like,
now.
yeah, no, it's no, not that. Yeah.
Sunshine says, "Welcome back, Goddess Starla. So good to see
Oh,
you. Owning your own space and not kowtowing to expectations sounds very inspiring. In fact, very good point, Sunshine." Stan Vladimir says, "What are your thoughts on the Alien movies? Which one is your favorite?"
oh my God. I loved Romulus. I loved it.
I still want to
Mm,
see it. I love the Alien series. I really do. I really want to see Romulus. I've been hearing nothing but good. Stan has been talking to me about it too. Actually, what did you like about
well, first, for me to directly answer that question, I'm gonna say the second movie, Aliens, is my favorite. I know that's controversial.
it? It's
Um,
a solid pick. It's a great
probably,
movie. It's a great
yeah,
film.
probably followed by the first Alien. Mm, and then probably Romulus is third on that list. And
Wow.
I
Okay.
don't care what people say. I defend all of the franchise.
Oh
I
yeah.
I even defend the third Alien movie.
David
Like,
Fincher
come on,
doesn't want
it's
anything to do
like,
with that.
I am in a forever argument with someone over this where it is like
What?
they think it's like sacrilegious for me to be defending Alien 3. I have to though.
Yeah. It's got
Um
Charles Dutton in it. The
I
Rock, not Dwayne The
mm,
Rock Johnson, the
and
other Rock.
I think people now are starting to appreciate it more. They're coming around. That's not everyone, but and I defend Resurrection. I love Resurrection.
That was a fun movie.
And I'm forever in arguments about loving Resurrection. But
No,
that's
Resurrection is
just my
entertaining. It's an entertaining alien movie. If you go into loving the Alien series, like you go into it with that spirit, it's an alien. It's a solid, satisfying alien
it's
movie.
part of I love the
They go to
franchise.
Earth.
Yeah, like I love the franchise for better or for worse. Like all like
Yeah.
yeah.
And Aliens is great. I totally get that argument about Aliens being better than Alien 1. They're two totally different movies,
They're
two
different
totally different
movies.
tones. One's like
Yeah.
a war movie, right? One's like a war movie. And then yeah, so I definitely want to check out the Alien series. So
You
let's
have
get
to.
back. Let's get back to the question. Okay. So you oh my god. First of all, everybody can get 15% off all items at lockedinlust.com with offer code YKF. This is the creator of Femdom Bride. We know a little thing about chastity, and everybody check out the chastity episode with Nico Noir. I still get messages about that episode. People are
Really?
in chastity. Yeah, because I made it. I was in chastity when I made it. You know, I'm talking about this big chastity kick. And I knew that people watching it, if they're in chastity, it would drive them nuts. That's every once in a while, or at least every week, I get an email. It's like, yeah, I watch that thing all the time. I watch that episode. It's the best episode. It's one of my most revered episodes because of you, Starla.
That's amazing.
So
Um
talking about what inspired you? All right. Canadians, woods, mountains, forests. Those are the notes I have. I talked to you I talked to you on the offline, and you kind of wanted to take a break and go. And from what I remember, Canada has woods and mountains and forests, and there's as someone who has appreciated your work in the past, there's a certain image to your character. So there are projections that fans have. We'll talk about that. But tell me about this. I get this image of you that you're like this almost cyber, because a lot of it is AI and a lot of you play with AI a lot. but it's like almost like a spirit or like
Mm,
someone in Midsummer Night's Dream in the wood.
yeah,
You're casting spells on people like a love witch that lives in the wood. That's the
that's
crazy
great.
projection that I have. So how is real is that?
Well, firstly, I think it's funny that like a lot of people think I'm American, and a
That's
lot of
funny.
this, so they're like, I have been to the States and everything, but yeah, the image of like, I don't know, my real life or my actual life, I'm so, I talk like an Albertan, it's an Albertan accent. um it,
I can tell when it comes across when you say sorry. I love it. I love it. I love it.
I'm
I think
back
it's
in
great.
my natural habitat because I walk down the street and people say sorry just for passing you, like, oh, maybe they brush up against you, oh sorry, and I feel bad because they didn't do anything, but it's so part of the culture here to just say
Yeah.
sorry and be polite, but it's really overcompensating. So I have to
I had
match.
a girl I had a girl break up with me like when I was like in 8th grade because I say sorry all the time. So maybe I should have moved to Canada or Alberta. Who knows?
Yeah,
I don't
you
know.
would have really, you would have been welcomed with open arms. So yeah, I find I'm saying sorry more to match other people's sorry or just to blend in, even if I don't mean it. I guess maybe they're empty sorries, but um anyway, anyway, so I'm so not American, and I grew up, not to give too much of my real life or whatever, but I grew up by the woods. Um and I would go and explore in nature and everything, and I grew up going to the Rocky Mountains, so that's that's a big influence for me, is to feel nature's splendor on that grandiose scale.
Um, I notice a lot of people in the community, a lot of friends of the show, and like you and I, we talk about this too. Every time, sometimes we need a break, right? Sometimes we need a break just to kind of reset something. Maybe it's a day, maybe it's a year, maybe it's a couple years, maybe it's a week or whatever.
Yeah, but
Um,
you don't always know it's a break either,
that's true too.
because
Yeah,
you need to break away, and you don't know, cuz you just don't know the future. You just don't know where you want to go from there, and we can't anticipate events in the
that's true.
future, how they affect us and everything. So, um yeah, I needed to get out of Quebec, and I am back in my hometown, and that's how that worked out for me. And so there was a lot of things I had to deal with, like, just growing up and having an American influence, like these ideas of fame, these ideas of whatever, like Pamela Anderson, sex icon, bombshell, Baywatch, whatever. Like, I grew up watching Baywatch, and that she's Canadian, but just sort of like what this idea of success is, and I really idolized Pamela Anderson growing up, and so I had to really get over this notion of chasing a dream,
Mm,
and you don't fail, but you just have to move on because things change and the world changes, and um things come in waves.
yeah.
So
What did
um
you think? Did you see the FX series about Pam and Tommy? The
no,
whole
I
take.
didn't. No.
You should check it out, especially
Yeah,
specifically because a you have an affinity for Pamela Anderson, but it also just deals with like sex tapes and stuff like that.
yeah,
You should
so
check it out.
she made having a sex tape so cool,
Yeah,
you know.
that was stolen too.
Yeah,
That was straight up stolen.
yeah,
Um,
but I
so
mean,
I wanted to I wanted to talk about projections, right? We're talking about the images that we portray and everything like that. I first came across you with Femdom Bride. And Femdom Bride was something you created. And for those who don't know, it was like a reality show where you were the dominant in a marriage, locked on chastity, sistification, all that stuff. And you do other projects as well, but that was what that I was introduced to you, right? Um, so throughout those years and throughout seeing that, sex specifically is very emotional, and there's a lot of delusions involved. So I'm sure people come up to you, like fans who have watched your work, not just Femdom Bride, anything, and they kind of get this. They project themselves. They project this fantasy that they have within them, and they project it onto you, thinking that you could just dispense that.
Yeah.
Correct?
But that
How
comes
do you deal
along
with that?
that comes along with like any parasocial
Yeah,
relationship. So
true.
anybody that puts themselves out there, people are going to approach them that way and think that they're just sort of like this vending machine of the content that they've made. And it's like it's a weird irony because the person creating it wants it. They want to
Hmm.
create, they want to make this content, they want to be whatever, a celebrity or famous or have exposure or whatever. So it's ironic when um the work that you've made backfires.
Well,
um
what? How did that happen? That's what I'm really curious about. Is what are some kind of wild ideas that fans have about you that are just not true, or when does it backfire?
well, in the beginning it was real, and so this is before I'm really aging myself here, but it's no secret. um but before freaking what's the oh my god, 50 Shades of Grey, before all of that came out and I was working as a dom, it backfired because people really thought I was that dangerous or that psychotic.
Okay.
um so that was probably when it was the hardest because um people just thought there must really be something, well, and there is, I am crazy, but it's a, it's a mild kind of crazy, but people really thought I must have been psychotic or like I can be a little unhinged from time to time when I want to let loose, but they really thought I was unhinged like my character,
Yeah.
which was a huge disservice for me. So, but I
I
mean,
was. I mean, I was granted. I was terrified of you in a beautiful way.
well, but
In
it's weird. I'm so complicated because I can
it's a
be,
performance. It's a
yeah,
great
but
performance.
I can be scary, you know,
Yeah.
and I can scare myself, but it's in a calculated way, which maybe that doesn't make it any better because it is calculated. But if I'm angry, it's for a reason, you know.
Yeah.
Um yeah, but I can be scary and I can scare
I'm thinking
myself.
about
So
times I
so
seen
I
you get
know that
mad on
that
film.
is, yeah, but a lot of it was um theatrical, but
And of course.
when I was pushing through making all that content, I don't I don't want to get into too much, but I really had to stand my ground, and I didn't have any choice. Um
Who gave you
so
more push, the sissies, the thirsty sissies, or the producers, the film producers, or the
it's
people in the
I don't even, it's not the producers.
ah, didn't think so. Yeah. Well, I thought that
No, no, but
because
not the sissies either. I'm mm, the
uh,
powerful people. Let's just say powerful people.
okay,
That sounds so.
okay.
Anyway,
So, next question: how do you deal with thirsty, delusional fans?
uh, you just shut them down. You block them. You just get rid of them somehow. That that sounds so scary.
Well, no, but think about it. You are looking for your own safety. You're looking out for your own safety. So if you just take away anybody who gives you that feeling that you're unsafe
Yeah,
in any way,
yeah.
of course you're
You have to
doing
protect
looking
yourself,
out for
but
yourself.
yeah, but so because it's hard when you're dealing with a scene, and say you go to a fetish party
Yeah.
and someone gave you trouble and they're at that party and the hostess of that party, well, doesn't have the same attitude about that person that you did, like when you call someone out as a predator and they're on their guest list and then you have to argue about what that is. That fucking sucks. So then I just stopped going to those parties, or I stopped going to that city, or I just fucking leave. So, um,
That's a shame.
yeah.
That is a shame. Kink helps kink people, seriously. Anyway, let's talk about music. Now, one thing that we started talking about a lot is music. And then what do? I'm on X or Twitter. I'm on the internet, and I see got a Starla with a guitar, and she's singing, and she's oh my god, I'm blown away. And I was like, I know that woman, and it's oh my, it's so inspiring you to see. So my silly imagination. Let's go back to that projection, right? I picture you, right, having this having the access to basically production, to have an album and going on tours and doing all this stuff. And even if it's like a laid back, intimate kind of affair, right? It still can be cool, still can be witchy and cool and Canadian. I don't know. So basically, I don't know. I just love that. I'm very inspired by you. But what inspires you to pick up a guitar?
I don't really know how to answer that. Hmm, I don't know, because when I play guitar, I'm by myself, and this is gonna sound so hokey or whatever, but you want to speak to some kind of spirit or something. Like the spirit in you wants to meet the spirit outside. Does that sound so hokey and witchy?
No,
And
it
but I
sounds
don't know. I don't know how else to answer
it's
that.
perfect. You
Like,
want to meet some kind of spirit. Yeah.
I guess it's the spirit in others. Like you want to attract, you want to
Yes.
magnetize. So
So now, was it the guitar? Was it something you've always like were playing with that you always played, or is it something you just picked up?
no,
Or
I've like since I was like yeah, a teenager. I made that song when I was a teenager.
and is it about something specific, or is it just kind of an esoteric kind of song?
I get I I guess that song is about just the big picture. Um it's called If Science Lies. So it's just sort I guess it's that song is about when you're taught something and what people are teaching you is wrong. So it's kind of a betrayal from the people that came before you and the intellect that came before you, and you have to rewrite everything.
Sunshine comments. This is such a beautifully introspective show. Thank you for your honesty, guys.
Thanks.
So yeah.
Thanks for putting up with me.
Now covers. All right. Let's say hypothetically you have albums out, you have studio, you have a discography already, and you could start now, and you have money, and you could start doing covers, and you have permission. Fine, you're friends with Lou Reed, and yeah, you could cover. You're friends with the Magnetic Field, the guy from the Magnetic Fields, whatever. What covers would you do? What covers would you like
Oh
to
my god, I
do?
don't know. I don't know. I've kind of already done them and put them on YouTube without permission.
What are they? It's
Well, I did the cover of the Meat Puppets. Oh me.
okay.
So that probably some David Bowie stuff. You know what? David Bowie.
David Bowie.
Yeah.
You know what? You know what I could see. You know what I could see you doing with an acoustic guitar. The song "Kooks." You ever hear that song?
No, I don't know that.
It's on. I think it's on. Oh, what is it? It's not on Ziggy Stardust. It's not low. I forget. Hunky Dory. Yeah, I think it's Hunky Dory.
Mm,
And it's an old and it's yeah, it's Kooks with a K. Yeah,
mm.
check it out. It's a guitar driven song. I could totally picture it just on you get it. The Magnetic Fields. You inspired me to start listening to the Magnetic Fields a lot. You said, I remember you were telling me like I've been listening to the Magnetic Fields a lot. Then I put on as soon as I was like, oh, I remember the song Strange Powers. So now every time I think of Strange Powers by the Magnetic Fields, I think of you because you have strange powers, Starla. You know what I mean? What are the songs by the Magnetic Fields that you enjoy?
Um. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to Google it. Um,
All right. Well, think about it. Let's answer
yeah,
this.
I'll
I
think
want
I'll
to ask
think about
this.
it.
In your opinion, what makes a perfect song?
No, Nick, there is no perfect song.
Of course, the
No,
beauty of
no.
any song is that it's imperfect. But like when you strive to make the best song you can make, like what does it need?
It should be a purge.
Okay.
And if it's a purge, it's coming from an authentic place.
Yeah.
So it should be a purge, and it should be a little bit messy, you know?
Yeah.
Because that's vulnerability. So people are twisted. We want to hear vulnerability. We want to hear anguish. We want to hear suffering. So a perfect song is something with a little sprinkle of suffering, you know. That's the
Yes.
human race.
So okay, I know all these producers, these record producers, and we have all this money. We're going to make a perfect album for you. What would be your perfect album if you had the resources? And it's different styles. What styles would you use? Who would you want to be on? Who would you want to produce it? Where would you record it? Let's make your perfect album style.
We'll just record it out of my storage room here.
Yeah.
Like, come on. How raw is that? Right here.
Right on. Yes, that's
Just
the spirit.
I don't know. And we'll go to the dollar store and get stuff to make costumes. Like it should just be like a
Organic.
bohemian thing, a dumpster diving thing, you know? Just like go out and it's a scavenger hunt, you know?
What if we find old instruments, like vintage keyboards,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun. Now, if you're making this album, right, who would you want to collaborate with? Music, like, or just artistically, who would you want to collaborate with?
Bjork.
Oh yeah,
Bjork.
Bjork.
Bjork, Bjork, however you say it. Yeah.
I saw it was one of the first concerts I saw was the Sugar Cubes and the Primitives,
Really?
Rutgers University. Yeah, it was before Bjork broke out and got huge with the debut, her title debut. Yeah, I was just watching what's a documentary on the making of that movie she did with Lars Van Trier called
Really?
Dancing with in the Dark. Have you ever seen
Mhm.
that?
Mhm. Mhm.
That's that's an intense movie. She's not going to do movies again after that movie. She did an amazing performance. Bjork, what a great name drop. Now AI. One thing I've seen you do is start doing artwork with AI, especially before it was people were doing it just like everybody was doing it. You were one of the first people I saw specifically. So, how do you think AI is changing your approach to art?
Mm. Like I've been doing things uh, it's just a go-to tool. It's just one more thing to bounce off of for ideas or whatever, but I find I went through an exploratory phase with it and now I kind of feel like I understand its parameters more now. And it's something I know it's in like my box of tools, but mm, it's not as like mysterious or mystical as I felt like a few months ago or whatever. Um, but it makes me feel like I'm not afraid to explore and to delve into different things because people were just so scared of it. Um, and I feel like I understand its parameters better now.
Well, it didn't help that like Stanley Kubrick made a movie called AI, and that James Cameron made Terminator, and that there's all this science fiction that AI is going to kill us before AI even started. So maybe that was just lessons or whatever. Okay, music. How is AI changing fashion? You're a fashion designer, so how has it affected your approach to fashion?
It's part of the mood board, you know. Um, but that begins and ends somewhere because it's very limited, but it is good for inspirations and for ideas and stuff. But there's not enough. there's not enough spirit to it, you know? So I feel like I'm kind of the energy of that is sort of running out for me a little bit. But I mean, it's still there,
Yeah.
you
No,
know,
I
and
know
it's
what you feel. It takes AI seems to be taking the fun out of it, out of creating art, because it's like, oh, someone can just like make a shitty version of it like that, or you know what I mean, or I can make a shitty version of what's in my head instead of creating it by myself. You know what I mean? So there's that kind of, we have to use it. We have to embrace it. We don't have a
I
choice.
don't think we have to use it or embrace it, but I feel like
We
we should
don't.
understand it. Do you know what I
Okay, maybe
mean?
that's what I mean. Yeah,
Like
maybe I
more,
mean,
and if anything, like, okay, this sounds so whatever, but like study your enemy, understand that enemy,
yeah, okay,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah,
So if
totally.
because it's a threat, so I'm gonna study my enemy. And
Yeah.
maybe, but you're also supposed to steal the art of your enemies.
Are you supposed to steal? Well, I don't. I'm influenced. There's a difference.
No, I had someone tell me specifically once you were supposed to steal the art because that's throughout history they've done
Oh,
that.
throughout history. Okay.
That sounds too violent or whatever, but I mean, throughout
Well, if you
history.
think about it, hip hop and DJ culture is stealing other people's art and making something your own. You know, so that is the philosophy to look at it. What about music now? How has AI changed music for you? Your enjoyment of music, your creation of music?
I never used AI for music, but I mean, it's fun. Well, I've listened to it. It's fun. It's just one more thing for the toolbox.
Yeah.
But it's spiritless. It's the people that have
Yeah.
to give it the spirit because it's just it's cold.
I
It's
love how
cold
you
and it's
said I love how you said before, and I quote, it should be a purge and it should be messy.
right.
You
So
know?
there's nothing to purge.
Yeah. And it doesn't feel like, I love the art where you know that the artist, whether it's music or a painting or fashion or whatever, you know that that person has something to say, and it's from their heart. It's from whatever their spirit's inside. And you could tell as soon as you experience that art. That's what I mean. AI has yet to capture that in any way. You could tell
Yeah.
AI music. You know what I mean? And yes, through time, that's good. We're gonna blur the lines, as many people have blurred the lines already. But you got
But
to keep on going.
it is fascinating.
It is
But
incredibly fascinating.
it's fascinating the way a video game is fascinating. Like it's contained in its own medium. It can
Hmm.
only go so far. Um
It's funny that you say that, because I think of kink the same way, like the
mm,
sissification narrative.
hmm.
In no, like the sissification narrative. I can't live. Like that turns me on. I can't live that way 24/7. I'm not gonna live that way 24/7. Maybe some people can, and that's cool. Good for them. But it's like video games. I consume kink 24/7 just because I do the show, right? And I do live a lifestyle, but I can't. I have to like go to the supermarket sometimes. I have to I have to do normal, regular, vanilla stuff. You know what I mean? So, but I think being exposed to it does kind of change your thinking. I noticed that in AI when we started talking about it, when we started first doing the shows, you were talking about DOMs, like using AI, like chat. It was a Chat EPT or something like that, and like,
Hmm.
so please tell us about that. Were you making AI DOM you out?
Yeah, like I was having a lot of fun with the chatbots and stuff. So that was really exploratory and I like it understood like the scenarios and the fantasy and this was when I was using a lot of it for free and now they're charging for these fantasies, but this was the earlier stage where you didn't have to pay for all this role playing stuff and it understood the nuances and it was really bizarre how it knew the right thing, it could predict the right things to say.
Yeah.
And that was sexy because it was scary.
Yeah, no, I know what
Stupid
you
as
mean.
that sounds.
No,
Why?
it's so
It's
true.
part of the curse. It's part of the absolute curse of liking all this stuff is you just you like the fear of it.
Hmm.
Why would anyone like fear? Why would you
Because it makes you
purposely
feel
like
alive.
it makes you feel alive, but
Yeah.
I try to
Well,
not
Vladimir,
stay there for too long.
Stan Vladimir asks, "What's your opinion? What are the pros and cons of AI art?"
I would say the pro is it's exciting to see the surprise because when you prompt something, you're like, prompt a beautiful woman in a pink dress. Oh, what's the surprise? Like it's a surprise. What does the computer think a beautiful woman is, and how are they going to interpret a pink dress? So it's just exciting because it feels like you're opening up a present or something, and the computer is dreaming, and it's going to show you inside its little dream. Um, but the con is, uh, it's only so interesting. Um, it doesn't resonate in the same way that human made stuff resonates. Um, if that's
One
if
thing
that's a good
I ask
answer.
this to everybody. It's a great answer. One thing I do ask everybody though is because I want to, like I said, I want to document this, and I want them to document themselves the right way. People mispronounce names all the time. So, what are some ways people have mispronounced your name? And just for the people who are out there, what is the proper way to mispronounce or the proper way to address you?
Address? Oh no, uh, I've had too many names. I've had too many stage names. Um, but people ask me so often, so I don't really run into that. When you talk about names, though, and this is like just something that punctures my ego, is there are people now who call themselves Goddess Starla, and I just feel like,
What?
excuse me, this is
Yeah.
my fucking turf. Like I
Yeah.
came way before you, and you're calling yourself Goddess Starla. Da, 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 da. Um, okay, but I mean, I'm just gonna exist in my little
Yeah.
orbit, in my little realm. So for me, it's just a huge ego puncture for people to not know who I am and also call themselves Goddess Starla. Um, whether it's a diss or disrespect, or they're just totally oblivious that there was a Goddess Starla before them who tried to build an online empire.
So we have here. Oh, I took that down. We have here your website. I mean your Twitter, your X page. I'm an artist who harnesses the phenomena of many kinds of beauty. 43, German, Ukrainian, Canadian, sober since 2011. I would love to talk about that if you're okay with that. Sober since
Sure.
2011. I don't drink anymore. I don't do drugs anymore. I enjoy cannabis. I have a prescription for it. I was very hesitant to do it actually because I struggle with addiction. I had a liver transplant. Um, that's a slap in the face, really. It's a wake up call. I died. Died for a minute. So drugs is a
Did you die?
complicated subject for
Do you
me.
mind if I ask you about that?
Of course, yeah.
So you're a
No, no.
flatliner. You're a flatliner.
I would for 1 minute.
Yeah, but
For
that's still
one
you're
minute,
still a
yeah.
flatliner.
I guess, yeah.
I don't want to give too much away, but someone near and dear to me is a flatliner,
Okay.
and mm, I have my notions about, well, just how absolutely phenomenal that is, because you almost cross over but you don't cross over, but you're brought back. Like there's something just very,
I
like, it's
was
so
dying of
profound.
cirrhosis.
It's what's
I
that?
had a seizure. I had a seizure. I was dying of cirrhosis. I had a seizure in a supermarket in Denellen, New Jersey. Um, yeah, and then yeah, so I was in a coma for about a week, and they told me I flatlined. I don't know. I mean, one thing I do know is that we have this life. It doesn't matter if you believe in reincarnation or whatever. We have this life, and it ends. We're not promised tomorrow. So let's really make it the best we possibly can, because we don't have a choice. That's
Yeah.
what I've learned. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's so it was a wake up call to be good, basically. Just and be
Absolutely.
and enjoy and appreciate the life that we have right now. You know what I mean? So with that,
Well, I'm
we need
somebody
to
who
look good. Oh, wait. You know somebody. Tell me more about this flatline.
um it's really personal, but it's something that like shaped my understanding of life. Uh we can talk about it offline, but
All right.
I really like I have my notions about mm, how that changes a person, and
It has profoundly changed me.
it shows you the fragility of everything. And like for
Yeah.
me, when you ask like about me being sober, I was scared sober. Like I wasn't, I wasn't in a coma or anything, but I was too close to the edge, and then I came back, and now I have my answer. Alcohol isn't for me. Um
It is not for me. It's
it's n- it's
definitely not
it's
for
not
me.
for me. My blood can't handle it. My bloodline. I come from both. My heritage is like
Hmm.
very religious, so I am like the first generation to really be pushing substances,
Hmm.
and it is not for me. It is not for my blood.
Yeah. Um, I- it's poison. Alcohol is poison. I don't mean to cramp people's fun or anything like that,
This is a
but it's
daddy talk. This is a mommy and
but it's
daddy talk.
straight poison. It's straight poison. I just look back. Look, and trust me, I loved drinking. I was a wine guy, and I was I wasn't a mean drunk. I was jolly. I was a little
Mm,
like I fell asleep a lot, but still, like um, I wasn't abusive or anything like that. But one thing, I looking back, I wasted so much time, so
mm,
much money, so
mm,
much just attention on just getting drugs or alcohol or just, and I could have, you know what I could have been? I could have been creating art. I could have been writing. I could have been doing something with my life. I could have been falling in love. I could have been, even though many times I did, but still, like I could have been doing something productive. And I look back of shoulda, coulda, woulda. But
yeah.
seriously, anyone out there who's struggling with sobriety, it's possible. I
Mhm.
was so like
Mhm.
no money, owing money, health problems, no like I know there are people out there who are struggling just for a place to for a roof over their head. And they think that they can never get off. They can never get off methadone. They can never go. It's possible. I never thought I'd be able to get a liver transplant.
Mm,
Seriously, like I knew that as soon as I got the liver thing was like the news, I thought I was a goner. And I
mm,
almost wanted to fight just because someone told me that I was a goner. They gave me 3 months to live.
mm.
I was wanted to be like, fuck you, no, I don't. Like that. I don't want to reduce it to that. But anyway, let's get back to other topics. First, let's this is such a femdom bride. All right, femdom bride. It's a part of you. It's part of your character. It's part of your history. Taking it down though, that's I'm sure it's emotional.
I went
So
through a grieving process. I think
please.
I'm coming out of it. Oh, geez. Like it was something I never knew how all of it was going to end, but it ended the best way possible. Um, but just my journey with that is over. It's been such a mm, it's just this digital environment that I have lived alongside for years. And the world is different. Like everything, economy is different, everything is different. Um, but I'm glad for how it shaped me,
Oh yeah.
you know?
I think it shaped many people. It helped shape me. It was a huge influence on this show, on my work. You're mentioned in my books. Femdom Bride is mentioned in my books. It was very influential.
It came a lot of it came at a cost, you know? And it
Yeah.
was a cost because I was um the exposure of it, I fell in really over my head, but I stood my ground, but it was scary. It was really scary putting myself out there like that, and it created a lot of really negative attention too, but I fought my way through it, and I bluffed my way through a lot of difficult situations, and I'm here to tell the tale. But I was lucky. Cuz it doing the whole thing was way more dangerous than I ever would have anticipated.
Really?
Yeah.
How?
I can't really talk about it.
But there were, I mean, other people. Let's just say in the straight up scene sense. In this,
Well,
like,
you had the scene and then you had the city.
yeah. Okay. So did people recognize you like from
Yeah.
that in the
Yeah.
city? Okay. And how do you
It
deal
it,
with something like that? Like,
it was
what's your
it
initial
was
response, and what
it
is the
was just
response that you do?
fucking scary. It was fucking scary. Um but I made friends, and it just I don't know. It's just fucking sheer luck or whatever. Like I made friends with the right people, and I the only way through the whole thing was straight through the middle, out
Yeah.
out the tunnel, you know?
Mm-hmm.
This sounds so cryptic, but I can't really, there's just stuff that
No, totally
I
understand.
can't talk about it, but for like, so I just, for anyone who is, they want to start making fetish videos online, and if they think I make it look easy or whatever, or I was blessed with some kind of protection or whatever to do this, I was not. And with that exposure, like, it's just such a mommy thing to say, but it was dangerous, but I fought for things. It was important enough for me to just keep going,
Mm.
because I was fighting for me, for my brand and what I did and my exposure, because those fetish videos, nobody was really doing that, and I fell into
No
this
one.
exposure that was way I was in way over my head with that exposure at that time.
When I first saw it, it blew my mind. I ran right to Lynn, which is the person I wrote about in my book. I was like, we have to, I don't know, but we have to try this. Look at this. And she
Nobody
loved it.
nobody was doing it, and it was before 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah.
So if you can
Oh, hell
imagine,
yeah.
it was so underground. It was like,
Well, not only that, I see now because I do what I do, and I'm exposed to everything, and I have a fetish. I have that fetish that you catered to is one of my fetishes, and actually that helped kind of mold and form, who I am today in many ways. Who do you see there are women doing it now who are, I don't want to say copying your style. They're influenced by you. You could tell. You could tell, and because some of their subs reach out to you. Um,
yeah.
so, in order, as someone who's been through it, right? What advice can you give to the other, ladies out there doing the femdom certification, who are very much hardcore and doing a great job, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what would you like to say to them?
I would say, just make sure that you know what you want out of it. Not what everybody's telling you. Not, oh, I have this fetish, therefore you should complement that, and you should have this fetish. You're going to get this, you're going to get this, you're going to get this. But ask yourself, do you want that? Like, what do you actually want? And sometimes you don't know what you want, because you're gathering experience, but just keep asking yourself, like, what, try to have a vision, because
Yeah.
if you jump into it with a certain vision and it's real, then that vision is gonna carry out over the years, and you're not, it's gonna feel like you're not betraying yourself. Like, don't compromise your integrity and don't betray yourself, because it's the worst, it's the worst thing. um because you learn that you create these consequences, and it's by your own doing, and you only have your past self to blame. um so whatever you're doing, just, you're gonna have to have accountability. It's all, I don't like, because everyone's like, the consequences of the internet, the consequences, you do this, you try to be entertaining, you are gonna have to suffer the consequences. So it sounds like so negative, but it really, I like the word accountability, because you're gonna make a video and then in 10 years, this is you did that. Yeah, that's me. I have to own up to that. You literally have me caught on camera. That was me. So there's things in there. I don't want to get into it too much, but like, you know what, like, when I first started doing fetish, like, there was some stuff and I'm like, fuck, that was so hardcore. Like,
Yeah.
really? I did that? Why did I? But I was having so much fucking fun at the time. And so now I have to have the accountability of a bunch of hardcore stuff that I wouldn't.
It's
I
also this, like, the circles you're in. The average, a lot of people are boring. The average person is boring. Right on. You know what I mean? So like, what's not hardcore to us, what's, you know what I mean, is extremely hardcore to other people. Um, you know what I mean? Let me ask you this: after through all this sissification, the whole fetish, the whole narrative of it, has your attitude changed throughout the years?
Well, yeah, of course. Like, I mean, okay, I'll give you this little story. Sissification, like, a lot of it in my mind was Rocky Horror Picture Show. And before the website, all of that, like, I thought, well, that's just the coolest thing. That's such a cult thing. Like,
I love the Rocky
this
Horror
is
Picture Show.
where it's at, just the vibe and the sensuality of it all. Like, and it was so theatrical but so rock and roll and just so cool. So that's really how I thought of sissification. And now where I am, I'm like, okay, I planted a bunch of things about this as a fetish, and it grew into something that I don't know how to care for that. It's like it grew into all these exotic plants, and I wouldn't know how to take care of the plant. I wouldn't know how much to
Yeah,
water it. I wouldn't know
overgrown.
anything about the soil, the lighting, anything. Like, the plants that grew from that are so exotic, but I was the gardener and I just planted a bunch of stuff, and I didn't know what I was doing. And um accountability
Wow.
for that, I don't know what to do except just let it surpass me and be like, I'm just the little goddess Starla over here. Evidently there's a bunch of other goddess Starlas, you know. Like, it's all gonna be overgrown. And yeah, and I think
Well, the
that
hardcore stuff that
that's how it's supposed to be, right? Though, isn't it? Like, that your art should consume you and sort of like eat
Mhm.
you, you know? Like
Yeah.
a mother spider. Okay, this is like whatever. Like in Blade Runner, you know that story of the
Yeah.
spider? So the spider gives birth to all these little spiders, and then the little spiders are supposed to eat her. And that's what it is to be a mother spider. And that's, I don't know, I got that idea from science fiction Blade Runner, that to be a true mother spider, your young is supposed to eat you alive. So I don't know. All these things that I've made, I just get to witness and get eaten alive by my own choices. I don't know how else to explain that. But so when you say, what do I think of sissification now? I think of just, I feel like I'm being eaten alive. You
Yeah.
like,
So, well, that's interesting that you say that. So you see, do you like follow up, or I mean, I'm sure you come across it. What women are doing now with like your style, the whole approach and stuff like that? It's like it's all over Twitter. It's stuff that you've done on Femdom Bride, that no one else was doing, right? They're kind of doing similar stuff, just on X, because now I think now it's not. It's more. I don't know if it's more accepted or just people got out hooked up. It got trendy.
yeah,
I
it
think
got trendy. It got
it
trendy.
got trendy. It got trendy.
I can't
And we
believe
were before. We were on that way
I
before.
cannot
Way before it got
I
trendy.
I cannot believe, like, um I'm a fan of Julia Fox,
Okay.
and she's kind of the first celebrity like to come out and talk really candidly about being a dominatrix. And I read her book, and she delves into working in a dungeon in New York, and then she's been so public about it, and I cannot believe, um I can't believe how trendy all that has been. Because years ago, people just thought I was a complete psycho. And yeah, I don't know. Think times have
Yeah.
changed.
Stan Vladimir wants to say that everything is possible. As the world is changing, how can kinky people in general survive?
I think this is the time for kinky people. I think it's working. It's trendy. It's, I don't know. I don't know anymore.
I wrote that down. I had to stop. Literally wrote that. I think it's time. It's time for. Oh, now my handwriting's horrible. It's time for kinky people. Yeah, this is the time to start. So, people, shame. A lot of people have to deal with shame with their families and stuff like that. I deal with it. I deal with my. I've done nothing wrong. I do nothing illegal, but still, I hang out with a lot of kinky people, and I'm a kinky person myself. And of course, I feel the looks, even though they don't give them to me. You know what I mean? If that
Yeah.
makes any sense. Just like because they live a very vanilla life, and it is. It's fine. So, for someone out there listening to this, what advice would you give to somebody who's dealing with shame in their own family?
So a lot of my background comes from religion, Protestant and Catholic. And I've been in the hot seat for judgment. And it's really weird to come back to my hometown, and it's sort of like these metaphorical churches that were there. They've fallen. The churches, the steeple has crumbled. The metaphorical church has just burned to the ground and disappeared. And so I'm feeling this empty gap where, oh, the judgment, that burning judgment that I felt, where's everybody? Where's the church? Where'd you guys go? It's not there anymore. And I'm feeling like these it's sort of like a phantom judgment where I should be feeling this judgment, but it just literally is not there anymore. This church steeple has disappeared. It is gone. And I don't know what to do with myself. So you kind of get used to the judgment, and then when it's gone, you just realize, my God, I I was living for myself and my livelihood, and that was the right thing to do. And it's a bizarre feeling, if that answers your question, because things are going to change.
That is, oh, that is the spirit. Um, on a side note, total non sequitur. When was the last time you were impressed by sadism, either yours or someone else's?
Um, uh, I haven't, Nick. I haven't been out there that much. Hmm. Okay, I know how to answer this. When it's
Okay.
not in regards to commercial sadism, because is it sadism for sadism's sake if you don't hear
Mm-hmm.
about it?
Yeah.
Or is it just commercial sadism? So, how true is that? So, if you can witness this nice flavor of sadism without announcing it on the rooftop to everybody, and it's not for sadistic clout or whatever, and it's just a little whisper somewhere, and you see it, it's like a twinkle in the eye, then you know that it exists. And yeah, so it would be like a one-on-one thing, and it's been a while since I've been out there and everything, but um yeah, that's a really cryptic way of answering that. But if you can, if you
Witchcraft. Witchcraft. Why do you think so many Doms loved witchcraft?
because it's a rebellion against the church. um well, and calling myself goddess, like, I went through a phase where I was really into Joseph Campbell, The Power of Myth.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just really into dabbling and reading about different religions and things. And one thing I really liked about paganism is there's a god and a goddess,
Yeah.
and you worship both of them equally. So I really like that binary. And then I also like the four elements, the four directions, and it takes your mind to such a place that is just so removed from Christianity or Catholicism. Um, so it's a nice little place to like make up, to form your thoughts about
There's,
power, I guess.
there's some questions from the group. Have you had male Doms, or have male Doms asked you for guidance on how to be a better Dom?
Yeah,
And
it doesn't
what's the
happen as often as it should.
right? So, all right, I was talking to Nico, and just off the, she was joking around saying that a lot of the male Doms are creepy, weirdo control freaks.
Hmm.
Now, I know it's a stereotype, it's a blank thing like that. Would you agree or disagree on that?
Oh, that's
And how can
it's
we
such
change
a
that?
it's such a minefield. Um, I don't know how to answer that, because it's all about power dynamics.
Mm-hmm.
And each time I kind of feel like, oh, I'm making a positive influence. Oh, things are changing for the better. Oh, we're forming a better community. Then something really fucked up happens. you know?
Yeah,
It's
I
like
know.
someone has to break the spell. Someone has to break the fucking sandcastle that we worked so hard to build.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just know, if there's a fucked up situation, and whoever the fucker was that stomped on the sandcastle, just get away. Run. Get
Yeah.
out of there. Like, because you can try to scratch your head and try to figure out, like, this kind of behavior, but it's not a Rubik's cube you can solve.
No.
And you can waste so much time trying to figure out how fucked up people are, and you're wasting your own brain power. So it just if you meet somebody who's fucked up, just get out of there. If you thought, oh, this guy, he's great. Oh no, he's such a experienced dom, and oh, he's such a great guy, and he's got such a wonderful harem of beautiful people, and you're hanging all your hopes on that, and then you're like, oh, okay, he did this is fucked up. You did that, and that's sketch, and red flag, red flag. So you pivot. You have to pivot,
Yeah. Yeah. Good advice.
because what else can you do? And you want to believe in people, right? You want to have hope.
You want to see the good in others so they can see the
Yeah.
good in you. You know?
Yeah.
What was the last dream you remember?
What do you mean, like the last
The last
actual
dream you
physical
remember?
dream?
The
Okay.
physical dream.
Okay.
Yeah. You know me. I go non sequitur shit.
um so I kind of held out a while to watch Long Legs, and I
Oh,
watched
how
it
was it?
last week, and I'm glad that I waited,
I see it.
because when it first came out, people didn't know what to expect, and they had totally different expectations of what it was going to be. And then I heard like negative reviews, and I thought, "Oh, this isn't for me. I don't need this." And then all of these hilarious memes of Long Legs came out, and it was just so fucking entertaining. And so I thought, okay, I have to crack this open and see. So I rented it finally. And I was just fucked. Like, it was a good fucked up, but it made me feel fucked up. Um, and that can be hard for me to get that kind of disturbed feeling.
It messed up your dreams. You had nightmares.
So yeah, and so that night, because I have a lot of dreams where like I have a gun and I'm pointing a gun, like freaking like Silence of the Lambs, like Jodie Foster, like yeah. So I had a dream like that after Long Legs. But I knew that I was a criminal, and I was running away from the police. I don't know why. I don't know what I did, and maybe it had something to do with Long Legs. I don't know, but that was like just permeating in the back of my mind. So I was a criminal, and I had a gun, and I didn't know where to go, and then I was falling down this well, but I was holding the gun. I don't know. That was my dream. That was my last dream, was a bad dream after Long Legs, where I was a criminal falling down a well with a gun.
All right. Some of the questions we've already like kind of talked about. Let's just have some fun. Rapid fire recommendations. It doesn't have to be the be all end all of who you are. Just something that you're digging, that you're liking, that you think I should like. So let's start with a film. Recommend a film.
Long Legs.
Okay. I really want to see that. Yeah.
It's I don't want to give you expectations of it, but it's a fucked up movie. But after you watch it, then you can delve into the memes, and like the pop culture coming out of this is fucking hilarious. It's just so
okay.
unhinged. It's great.
Do you think it will have a cultural impact like Silence of the Lambs? Because that's what the press is saying.
But it's so different. Like it's so I don't really like that comparison. But I get where people are coming. I get where people are coming from, but what would I compare it to? Just Long Legs himself just becoming a pop culture character that I think people like. I kind of want to dress up like him for Halloween.
Okay.
So
rapid fire recommendations.
It's just fun.
Recommend a book.
I just read Julia Fox's book Down the Drain.
Oh, I'm gonna check that out.
It yeah, I had to take breaks from it, but yeah, it's yeah, that's what I'm really into her. I watched her Oh My God Fashion, and talking about
Okay.
people becoming sober, I'm rooting for her. I'm rooting for her to live a sober life and go about in fashion and be a celebrity at such a high caliber. So anyway, I'm rooting for her.
Recommend a song.
I wanted to recommend the movie soundtrack for The Saint.
Oh, is it Val Kilmer movie?
Yeah.
Primal Scream is on that. There's a lot of like trip
Yeah.
hop, like
Yeah,
90s
like
hip hop stuff. I think Primal Scream Star is on that. Massive Attack, is it? Massive Attack might be on it.
Is Matt
Or Tricky.
no. I'd have to Google it.
I'll check that. I'll definitely
I
check it out.
recommend Moby's on it,
Moby's
David
great.
Bowie, Duran Duran, Underworld, Orbital. Yeah. Anyway,
I've been
because somebody
speaking of Moby, I've been digging the new Moby has a new album out. It's called
it
Ten at Night.
so what was it with Moby where he came off as kind of a creep for what? Like, I don't know. I'd have to do a deep dive into what all that was, because Moby was such a prolific musician, and then he had like this phase where he kind of came off as creepy, and I don't know.
I know he found like God. He became very religious. And
Okay,
he
well, I
doesn't
mean
like really preach it that much, but I don't know. But
that's
I
his
know
journey.
him from the
But
rape
I do
scene, New York
believe,
City.
but I do believe in detaching the artist from their art.
Yeah.
I do, like, not.
Do you have any artists that you don't agree with as like on their personal things, but you
Well,
like
like
their work?
like a classic example is like I love Rosemary's Baby, but everything that happened with Roman Polanski. So
Yeah, I get that.
that's an instance where, like, I disconnect the artist from the art, because we have to live on this fucking planet. Like,
Yes.
so what are we gonna do? Like, we'd have to get rid of half of the art on the planet if
That's
anyway,
true.
if we couldn't
Very
do
true.
that. So
Speaking of that, well, food though, recommend a meal.
sushi.
Yeah.
Since I moved here, the sushi, maybe I shouldn't say this because I'm gonna jinx it, but the sushi in Calgary is shit. I miss the sushi in Montreal. Like, I've been crying to my friends back in Montreal all this
Canadian
week about
Canadian sushi. All right, we're gonna we have a new, well, it's an old game, and you before I think we lost the can before you started doing the show, but this is a jar basically, and this is the word association game. All right, I don't know what's going. I didn't put anything in this jar.
Okay. I think
Sunshine.
we've done this before.
We've done this, but
Yeah.
this is not with this jar. This is brand new.
Okay.
I
Oh, it's
retired
a
the
brand.
jar, and I
Okay.
brought this. So this is all something different. All right. All right. Oh, okay. Locking collars.
What?
First word that comes to your head. Locking collars. Collars that here. Yeah, collars that lock.
Oh, and then somebody needs a key.
The first
Sure.
thing that comes to your head. Word
Sure.
association. Sure. Okay. All right. Flute.
Magic.
Okay. No wrong answer. Whipping.
Crane.
Spanking.
Hard.
Blood play.
No.
Kidnapping play.
Chloroform.
Medical play.
Catheter.
Vibrating butt plugs.
Picnic.
Okay, speaking of dreams, what is the weirdest dream you've ever had?
Oh no. Oh, this is gonna sound so. I've had night terrors before. Is that weird? I had a
That is
dream.
very weird, terrifying.
Yeah.
Scares me. I'm scared.
Um
It's nighttime.
so when I was in art college way back 20 plus years ago when I was young, I had a night terror where I was possessed. And yeah, I hate that shit.
Yeah.
I don't need it. Like,
Henri Gibnouv asks, ruined orgasms or post-cum torture? What do you prefer?
I feel like post cum torture, is that really torture? That doesn't, I don't know. I probably ruined orgasms, but it would like actually have to be ruined.
What, in your opinion, what is a true ruined orgasm?
I don't know. It's all about timing, I guess. It's just the luck of the draw. But I mean, you try to ruin the orgasm, but you don't really have control over that.
Yeah, that's true.
You
Um,
just try to be good at sports, right?
that's yeah. What are there new or fun ways to deny orgasm?
Oh, I don't know. I don't even know anymore. Probably
I don't
all
even
the
know.
all the younger people are doing. I don't even know anymore. They
So
probably came up. They probably came up with something way cooler than what I ever did.
so I go to munches and I go to parties, and the parties I go to at Mischief Manor, um, the ages vary. Some of them are, some of the people are in the 20s and 30s and 40s, 50s, all the way to the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Um, Noticed the older I get, you start viewing the world, the kink world, differently. Do you view the kink world, the kink community differently now, and how? I mean, of course you do, but how?
Well, absolutely. Well, I mean, and also I left the city I was living in for 17 years, so and I'm in a new city and I'm going to explore the version of what kink is here. Um I guess how I view that for myself personally, I am so much more protective of my body than I've ever been. Um but and so much more hesitant to trust. This sounds so like cliche, but with that, um, there's still a desire to explore. So when I do finally find that, I feel like all of it's gonna run deeper, if that makes sense. So I mean, the older you get, just the deeper the waters get. Um, there's a lot
Chris
of
Bacos. Chris Bacos says, Starla, I follow you on X and like your
thank
posts.
you.
People love you. I had to interrupt you because people in the chat, people seriously, you are adored. You know that. I just hope you
Thanks.
do.
Thanks. Like I it's an identity thing and with closing Femdom Bride, I really had to get over that I am not Femdom Bride. Like that's a project and the project's over and that's okay and coming to terms with that and um it doesn't make me a failure. Um
Oh, no, you are very much a success. I mean, look at all the people you've influenced. In fact, you've made my relationship better, Starla. I'm saying this right now on my show. Um, I do want to ask you some questions about chastity because Femdom Bride chastity was a major aspect of it. Part of like the intro image, right, of you. Yeah. So, have your throughout the years have your view of chastity play changed?
it made me uh, if people weren't meeting my emotional side of it, which I felt like I wasn't their need for their physical sensation overrode what I emotionally wanted out of it. So I just felt like I wasn't getting enough out of that kind of play. And it doesn't mean that I wouldn't do it again, but I felt like my emotional needs needed to be met.
So for someone who's playing with chastity, let's say someone's in their chastity, right? They're playing with chastity right now, a couple, right? What would you say to them to kind of, I don't know, take it up another notch, even, or just to have it
Well, it should
continue,
it should be about
spice it up even
it
more?
should be about the intimacy of it. Like, that's where the fun is going to be. It's a very intimate thing, and because it's something that you're putting
Yes.
on your body, and there's a duration to it. So even
And
though it's
finally, we
even
have
though
the
it's a very
question:
controlling thing, um
how can kinky people make money?
see, this question, I don't even want to touch that with a 10-foot pole anymore,
Why's that?
because and like because this is something, if I was the gardener, all my exotic plants
Are
grew
you saying that
taller than me. So
if you say something, it's going to inspire people to do that?
no, it's just because then I'd have to talk about money. I can talk about money a little bit, but because there were times, like, doing this for me, it was never, it was like this. It was a
It's a
fucking
roller coaster
roller
ride.
coaster, a
Yeah.
roller coaster.
Yeah.
But for me, it was a long-term investment. Like, and I'm still, and it's not, at this point, it's not a financial investment anymore, because I pulled out of everything. So I'm
Mhm.
saying this, I don't know how to make money because I stopped everything, because it didn't make sense for me anymore. And because it's not about money.
Mm.
Um
Well, why don't we take this up to a different, as the kink community, what can the kink community do as a whole just to make the world a better place, to make the kink community a better place?
See, that's so hard to answer, because what people are doing at underground parties, all the stuff that's not documented, is so different than the stuff that is documented, or the stuff that is commercial. And there's a huge difference. And I don't hear people talking that much about commercial kink. They don't make that distinction, and it all just sort of bleeds into itself. Um, my advice would be to give more emphasis on stuff that isn't documented. And that's hard, because you can't use that for status, you can't use that for clout. It's all the stuff that you're not putting on your FetLife profile, because it's too precious to talk about, otherwise it's going to attract the wrong things.
That's
So
that I totally get what you're saying, because if you look at people, right? People in the kink community, they purge just like art. I love that you said that, purge. Get it out on the canvas, get it out on the paper, get it out in film, whatever. Get your art out
learn
there. That's what
learn
people
to
do with kink.
learn to purge without writing it as a status online. And you can do it, because we seem to think, oh, if I'm writing a status on X, I'm purging. No, you're creating a document of something, and that changes the conversation, that changes what that is going to attract. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
So just like, have the distinction of yourself, your identity, everything, online, offline. Fucking go off the grid. Go off the grid. It's so important. You use online as a tool, but you have to know who you are and the definition of things without it fucking being online. And when you have stuff online, it becomes just clout that's like it doesn't, the definition of things will just start eating away at itself. It's not, and just keep things sacred, keep things precious offline, and do it in secrecy. It's delicious. Private, secret,
Do it. It's secrecy. I got some good quotes.
hidden.
It's delicious. I like do it in secrecy. It's delicious. I think I'm gonna start the whole thing with that. We got some good ones. We got some good ones. You said commercial kink. That's interesting. No one
Kink for
talks into no one.
profit. It's
Yeah,
we all know what that is, right?
yeah. Commercial kink, and I'm glad that you brought that up. And I'm glad that you brought because a lot of people out here, as like I do this for the love. I really do this for the love. Interviewing people. Seriously, I'm I'm in the hospital. I'm thinking of people like you, Starla. Seriously, when I said you're a muse, do not lie. I cannot, overstate it enough. You are. Seriously.
Thanks.
The kinky people, this whole thing, a lot of people out there were doing it for the love. We're doing it for the love. So, the final question, Starla. Oh, I gotta find it. Hold on. Yes, we're all looking for something. Where do you want your kinky path, to take you next?
I want to meet the right people. I want to meet people who help me
Yeah.
blossom. A woman is a flower that needs to bloom over and over again. Someone told me that once in disdain.
In disdain.
Yeah.
What?
Like, yeah.
Okay.
So I want to bloom again. Yeah.
Well, let's build a garden, metaphorically. Your kinky
Yeah.
friends, YKF. Let's build a garden. Starla, we must support your creativity, your music, your fashion, your outlook on life. Please come back to the show. You're gonna come back and see Nico and I
Yes,
one
yes.
of these days. That'd be
Yeah, and I
great.
have a storage room so I can set up and see you guys. So
How can people get in touch with you? How can people support you? How, like you
um
said, you want to meet the good people, right
yeah,
people.
just I'm on X. That's sort of like my little thread of existence with all that right now because I've cut everything else. I don't have a fetish presence really anymore, which you can find my content for free everywhere and it just sort of has a life of its own, but I'm not selling fetish videos. I'm not on Instagram. I've gone underground. So X is the only place that I'm popping my head out of the sand.
Starla, I am so thankful that not only you're in my life, but that you popped your head out of the sand for me, for us.
Yeah, well, you're
Uh,
great, Nick. You're
oh,
great.
thank you.
And this
Well,
is like this
I'm
this is
honored.
substance. This is substance that I want. And you put so much effort into bringing people together and having these interviews. Like it is fucking hard to produce anything and to do it consistently. Like
True.
so
Thank
I
you for
just
acknowledging that.
yeah, no, it is so hard to just do anything and get people to do anything. Like it's so hard to make things.
It is. So the best Twitter. This is your Twitter, right? And anywhere else you would like us to go?
No, that's it.
Okay, there is a link tree available. Everybody support, and you know what? This is a goddess worship, goddess Starla Vamp.
Yeah.
You know it. Worship Starla Vamp, and
Thanks,
everybody out
guys.
there, buy books, read, read. It's a wonderful thing. It's imagination. Buy a book. Your kinky friends. Um, I'm writing another book, but this kind of like it's about real people, the true story. It's about dealing with grief. I lost my goddess, and I had to deal with grief, and the kink community helped me. And now I'm writing a whole other book about how to help me through the liver transplant. Yeah. So thank you, I love you. Support the kink community. Support everybody. Buy books. Remember the rule, not the rule. It's not a rule. Remember my motto: be cool, be kind, and keep an open mind. Love you. Take care. It's going to be a great
Love you,
week.
Nick. You're awesome.
Thank you.